Yeah, good thing you can do that. It's not good. Son bought a bunch. You
almost think so, right?
Probably have a snack back there.
They got a lot of good stuff in.
Wonderful to have a pizza. Yeah.
I was excited to see that.
Last week on Wednesday, we had a dozen come for a tour. They all kind of sit up here and take pictures, and I talked to them about it.
Rather than show. Yeah, hamburger and then, also on the side, super tall.
You like to read. It's a good little thing to do.
I want to eat myself.
When I worked with mine, I was having some I don't miss making fun of stuff. Because I always spit out. Never can bring that. He's very busy with that.
And my wife Jody were all piano players.
And the tomato.
Yeah, I would call me a rusty one now.
Sure.
It has been so many years. I mean, I have intentions, pieces are the best.
Sure.
I don't miss food service, but some champions. I miss the relationships.
Yeah.
She's coming by the she'll be here. I mentioned it.
Doriash is not a popular.
Probably. Not for sure. Yeah. For sure.
That's our website, and that was the 8th is Thursday.
Monday. So that would have been the correct day for those.
My bad. We corrected it.
I think those are okay. There you go. There you go. Easy peasy. This is my wife's mistake. Any more chairs? Well, we're back to the top. There's three in front. Five more ways to close.
Do you want me to just go? Okay.
Let's grab a few more chairs for up front. So we need 8.
They're just getting more chairs so people can sit. Yes.
Get ready for chair races. I'm going to try really hard not to laugh.
Good evening and welcome to the Creswell City Council meeting, February 12, 2024. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for coming. It's wonderful to see a full house tonight. And we have these meetings every month, second Monday of the month. So you're invited to come every month. Then you'll know all about the business that's happening in Creswell. And we'd just be happy to have you come. We begin tonight, first of all, an announcement that we are down one counselor. Counselor Clark is away on a trip this week and is not going to be joining us. So that is an excused absence. Each meeting of the regular business meeting, which is the second Monday of the month, begins with a public forum, which is a allotted time of 30 minutes in which we invite members of the public to come and speak to us about subjects of importance to them. Each speaker is given 3 minutes to speak, and we simply ask that you fill out a speaker request form. We have 5 people who have signed up to speak tonight. So we're going to begin with Sean Lind. If you'd come up here to the podium and address us. Mr. Sean Lind.
According to Forbes Advisor and the American Veterinary Medical Association, as of 2022, 44.5% of U.S. households own dogs.
Can't hear.
Where's the speaker?
It's not on.
Hello?
Try that again.
Hello? Hello?
No,
That's
not on.
one.
We'll get that on.
Sorry about
Get my
that.
3 minutes.
Yes, I paused it.
Hello?
Nope.
Shall we switch on it?
Can we use Shelly's?
Oh, yeah.
Little icebreaker for you.
Hello?
You might want to try the plug in the floor.
Well,
You might want to try it, but this lights up, so I don't know, unless it's loose. Yeah, it's on.
It still should be on though. The light's on.
Try it again. Go with that.
Oh, that sounds like.
There you go. Right now.
Everybody.
Hang on.
okay.
Now you're set.
Good job, Shelly.
Shucks. Shucks. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. According to Forbes Advisor and the American Veterinary Medical Association, as of 2022, 44.5% of U.S. households own dogs. And as of 2024, 59.2% of Oregon households have pets. 37.8% are dog owners. averaging 1.6 dogs per household. In the category Dog Devotion, Oregon is in the top 10 highest in the nation with a score of 70.24, Colorado being number 1 with a score of 100. In Oregon, 9.5% of dog owners stay at a job they don't like for the sake of their dogs, and 40.5% are willing to spend upwards of $4,000 to save their dog, number 8 in the nation. A review of multiple research studies found that pet owners had significantly lower heart rates, arterial pressure, and systolic blood pressure, suggesting better cardiovascular health. Some of this may have to do with the fact that most dogs need to be walked, so the people who own them tend to walk more. These statistical facts, along with an overwhelming consensus amongst trainers, veterinary groups, the National Institute of Health, ASPCA, and the Animal Humane Society, for making the socialization of one's dog a priority are all well-researched and quantifiable reasons for providing a place where dog owners can do just that. What makes this an even more urgent priority for myself and the community of dog owners in the Creswell area is the fact that within a year or less time, we and many others in the friendly city of Creswell will no longer have access to the only area that offered us that opportunity. As part of the recent Creswell School District bond measure and subsequent matching state grant funding, the district will install perimeter and interior fencing around the elementary and high school's nearly 46 acres of property to ensure the safety and security of the students and teachers, effectively closing this area off to the neighbors on both sides who currently have gated access from their yards, other residents that use the track and field for exercise, and the dogs and their owners who come there for the same. As a career professional in the security industry and currently as capital project coordinator for the bond construction efforts at Lane Community College with specific working expertise in educational construction project management, putting up a fence without a budget or a plan for maintenance or monitoring is a waste of our money and does nothing to support the friendly city environment. I'm sorry, I promised myself I wouldn't air my grievances with CSD this meeting. My apologies. In short, I believe that the city of Creswell does itself a grave disservice in not aggressively seeking out a suitable venue that benefits the physical and mental well-being of 37.8% of the pets and their owners in their constituency.
That was 3 minutes, Sean. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is April Armstrong.
Great, you're good.
Good evening. My name's April Armstrong. I'm a homeowner in Creswell. And I want to express the need for a dog park in Creswell. I have a dog. Most of these people have a dog. Dogs make us better human. I'm here with my dear friend Stevie and Sean to try and to convince the city to try to find 2 acres or more of land is suitable for a dog park. Dogs need playtime with other dogs just like kids need to play with other kids. The zoomies can't never be fully enjoyed on the end of a leash. Anyone who's ever witnessed the zoomies can agree the sheer joy dogs experience playing with other dogs is priceless. It warms your heart. A dog park A dog park would be a community asset, not a liability. Cottage Grove has 2 dog parks. Eugene has half a dozen. Creswell? No. All the dog parks in Creswell, in Cottage Grove and Eugene, they're successful. But they're at least 10 miles away from Creswell, and that's not practical on a daily basis to take our dogs to those dog parks. Off-leash exercise and socializing teaches dogs to get along. They accept other people and eliminate bad behaviors. A dog park is a good for all. We can all socialize at a dog park. Dogs don't know what we expect of them until we teach them. A dog park teaches dogs acceptance. A dog park also teaches people acceptance. Imagine going to the beach but not being allowed to run on the sand, or having to stay in the classroom during recess. A well-socialized dog in an off-leash area will soon learn to accept and react more clearly to to other dogs and situations and people. I am one of dozens of dog walkers who regularly utilize the high school Bark Trail Annex and the fringe field areas to socialize our dogs. The school is the only open space to do this. We pick up our dog poop. We pick up dog poop from other people who are less considerate. We don't interfere with the school activities. We steer clear away from school events. We don't take our dogs into the football field or the baseball fields. We are considerate and respectful. Do we let our dogs off leash? Yeah. Because have no dog park to do so. When the school fences us...
Thank you, that was 3 minutes, April. Can you wrap up your comments?
Well, I was just trying to convince the city to convince us to grant a dog park property.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Stevie Lind.
She's off the leash. She's got her leash. She's off the leash.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Stevie Lind. My husband and I were instrumental in setting up an organization in Livermore, California called the Livermore Pet Alliance. The purpose of this organization was to procure and manage an unused 2-acre field in the center of Robertson Park and turn it into a popular and well-regulated off-leash dog park. After lobbying the Livermore Area Recreation and Parks Department for an extended period, we were granted permission to participate in a 6-month pilot program to show how well our plans would work and to fine-tune our rules and regulations. Long story short, the meadow at Robertson Park is still in existence and serves as an example of a successful collaboration between the community and city government. My husband and I moved to Creswell in 2012. While walking past City Hall one afternoon, we met Michelle Amberg sitting in the foyer of City Hall with signage indicating an interest in creating a dog park. She even offered us collapsible frisbees for our dog. We spoke with her and offered to send her some pertinent information based on our experience. A complete folder including signage, rules and regulations, flyers, and design concepts was mailed to her on December 11th, 2018. And a voicemail from Michelle confirming that she got the information was received on December 14th. That same afternoon, I received a final email wishing me a wonderful weekend, and I never heard another word about it in the past 6 years. The reason I am even mentioning this story is that my colleague April, who you just heard from today, received a similar response from Ms. Amberg this past week, with the caveat that the city does not at present have any property suitable for a dog park, and suggesting that she, April, come up with ideas as to how the community can partner with the city to raise funds to buy said property. For the past 11 years since we've lived here, we have been walking our dogs on the grounds of the high school. The school had signage posted inviting all to walk their Bark Trail. We felt welcome and made many friends there. Last year we received a solicitation to vote on a measure that would provide a substantial amount of money for the Creswell schools. After the measure passed, we found out much of that money was going to pay for a new football field and track. Shortly thereafter, we were told a fence was going to be built, not only around the track and football field, but around the entire perimeter of the school grounds for security. now it appears that eventually the dog walkers are going to be fenced out of the property entirely. The fence concept is alienating a lot of people for a lot of reasons. Bottom line, when we are finally kicked out and no longer permitted on school grounds with our dogs, we will need somewhere to go. Somewhere friendlier than the streets of Creswell with our dogs on leashes. Please consider our plight and work with us to create a suitable off-leash area to exercise and socialize our dogs and ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Elizabeth Prochu.
Sorry about that. That's okay. Good evening. I'm Elizabeth Prochu. I've been a resident for almost 8 years in Creswell. So thank you, Mayor Stram and Council, for allowing me to speak this evening. I would like to address something that I've noticed in watching our council meetings that raises a question. For a few months last year, this council had the task of determining how to comply with the Ninth Circuit Court's decision regarding where the unhoused can rest. During the work sessions where this was discussed, there were some on council who were firmly against the unhoused being in Creswell and felt they should be deferred out of town. Then in December, the same councilors who were passionately against the unhoused being here at all nominated and voted for an unhoused person to fill a vacant council seat. This person wasn't qualified or ready for the position and didn't have the trust of the community at that time. Yet she was chosen over the other candidate who was very qualified and had no conflict of interest. Many times I heard about my constituents or the people have spoken when explaining your views and decisions. Were your constituents, which is everyone who is affected by the decisions made by you, consulted before you voted? Based on the adverse responses I've read on social media and in the letters to council, I'm guessing that didn't happen. Those optics didn't look good to them apparently. After her own conflict of interest was discovered, this person's nomination was rescinded and the qualified candidate, Councilor Kent, was chosen. By January's work session, the same councilors who voted to include an unhoused person on the council were back to passionately opposing any discussion about the unhoused. What was so special about December that prompted you to change your mind and vote the opposite of your opinions? With your words and actions, this person got the message that she wasn't wanted, then was wanted, and then unwelcome again. It gave her a brief false sense of support and a false sense of hope, both of which are a deception. That kind of thing happens on school playgrounds and Judy Blume books. In this last work session, the comment was made that the unhoused have the opportunity to speak to council twice a month. After all that has happened in the past 2 months or the past year, the question I have is, do they feel that they will be listened to if they do want to say something? Do any of our citizens feel they will be heard? That includes those who live outside the city limits and are involved in this town. The people in this town want honesty, accountability, transparency, and respect from our elected leaders. Are they getting that from our council? Because that is how trust is built. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Bill Kent.
Good evening. My name is Bill Kent. I know how Taylor Swift felt. Man, talk about a packed house. What a great speaker to follow. I do have a dog, so I almost apologize for not speaking on dogs, but I would wish to reinvestigate the camping ordinance that we set up under time. In there, we had said enforcement of time restrictions may be suspended by order of the city manager or designate for severe weather events or when necessary to respond to an individual's unique circumstances. So I'm not looking to open the whole can of worms, but when I proposed to the committee, I had this very sort of thing in mind that we would look at the fine tuning. As I talked to the city manager, she says, you've given her no direction whatsoever on what kind of even warming centers have a specific temperature in which they're activated. Now, Egan warming centers are for people who have tents, and it's so cold you're even in danger in a tent. So my question is, we have a camping regulation, we talk about 10 o'clock at night, but on nights when it's cold and rainy and windy, is it not appropriate for the city manager to say, it's a special night, set the tent up early to get out? We have one of our homeless that dared to come into your arena, and if you think it's intimidating, when you first spoke here, imagine coming in here to speak when you're clearly not welcome. So I brought one of the homeless that has a tremendous cold going now, snot running out of her nose because she sat out there in the park waiting for 10 o'clock at night to stop the cold wind from coming in. So I invite you in the next work session to reinvestigate the time and let the city manager do what you said, is respond to a weather event. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
I'm sorry, I wasn't aware that we had to sign something to speak, but I do, if it's okay with you guys, I have something to kind of add to that.
You do need to go get a form,
Okay, where's
Christina. Right in back.
I come with it pre-filled out.
Yes. Yes. Christina, you can come right up to the podium here.
Sit. Hi, you guys, thank you very much for letting me speak, sorry about that. I just have something really quick, and then I'm probably gonna exit because I'm not feeling well, and no cooking. He pretty much covered everything except for, I have just a small amount of my stuff. I mean, I've complied to all of the rules, I've done, I'm the one that cleans up all the cigarette butts and sweep and, make sure everything's, as best as I can, tidied up. I have it covered with a gray tarp, and it just takes like about maybe that much of a section of one parking spot in the parking lot. And I mean, other than that, everything else is on my bike trailer. I keep it with me, and I was just hoping that that would be okay. I mean, that's the only thing it is, and it's well wrapped, and it doesn't really look much like an eyesore. I mean, it really doesn't. It's just our blankets and the cot that we sleep on in our tent at night. Everything else is in my tent. So, I mean, my trailer. So I was just hoping, I don't know who would be the one to give that okay, but, I mean, Michelle, I don't know, but that's all I'm asking. Everything else, I'm following the rules and keeping it clean, so, so, that's all. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Christina. Okay, we move tonight now to the mayor's report, and I'm very excited that we have a number of young people and supporters here. from Creswell Middle School. And I first of all want to introduce Principal Julie Johansson. You would please stand. Would you introduce staff members that are here?
Sure. I have Mrs. Anderson. She is a teacher at Creswell Middle School. As an aside, she also is a local VFW Teacher of the Year, district level Teacher of the Year, and actually the state VFW Teacher of the Year from last year. And we're lucky to have her as our FBLA chapter advisor as well. So we have many students who came this evening. This week is FBLA week, which is Future Business Leaders of America. Our student chapter was created last school year, and we had a lot of success, even having many students qualify for the national level, and actually taking second place. Owen Moran took second place, as well as our school receiving the Merit Award at the national level. So thank you for having us. We're very excited to be here.
Let's have all the students who are part of FBLA please stand up. Wow. Now I'm going to have you remain standing. Okay? So I want to read a proclamation, then I have something for you. So the proclamation says, Office of the Mayor, City of Creswell, Oregon. Proclamation declaring February 12 to 16, 2024 as National FBLA Week. Whereas Future Business Leaders of America, Incorporated, FBLA, is a nonprofit organization whose first chapter was established in Johnson City, Tennessee in 1942. And whereas Iowa became FBLA's first state chapter in 1947, and whereas Creswell Middle School officially chartered its FBLA local chapter on November 15, 2022, and whereas FBLA includes more than 250,000 members and advisors in 4,600 chapters nationwide in middle schools, high schools, colleges, universities, career and technical schools, and private business schools, and whereas FBLA is a professional business organization dedicated to bringing business and education together in a positive working relationship through innovative leadership and career development programs, and whereas FBLA members perform community service activities and strive to build a student's understanding of the realities of the modern business world, and whereas FBLA teaches middle school, high school, and college students basic business and leadership principles and assist them in the transition from school to work. Now, therefore, the Creswell City Council does hereby proclaim February 12 to 16, 2024 as National FBLA Week at Creswell Middle School. So I'm looking to the council for a consensus for this proclamation. Do I have council consensus? So with that, I'm going to first of all sign the proclamation. And then I'm going to ask for our council president, Alonzo Castilla, to join me on the floor, because I have some things for you. Council president, if you would join me. And Ms. Johansson, should I present this to you or to
You know
Kendra?
what would be great? We have our chapter president, Chloe. Chloe, why don't you go on up?
Chloe, come on up. So we'll get a picture here too. So congratulations, FBLA, this is your proclamation. Wait, any pictures you want to take?
I got
Come on
it.
over.
Thank you. I think her mom probably wants one.
Okay, Mom?
Just one. Thank you.
Okay, so Alonzo, I want to have all the students out here. We're going to present you with a wonderful sticker from the city of Creswell that says, Creswell, Oregon, you love Creswell, and this medallion, which says, on the front is the city emblem, and on the back it says, one person can make a difference. So, Chloe, to you first, and then if the students would come up. And Alonzo, why don't you go ahead and pass them out as the students come
You want
up.
to start here, you'll be in front.
You come on up and shake my hand, and then we'll give you the medallion.
Right here. There we go. We're gonna line up. We're gonna line up. There we go.
Congratulations, thank you for coming. Congratulations, thank you for coming. Congratulations, thank you for coming. Hello, neighbor. Congratulations, thank you for coming. Congratulations. Congratulations, look at that tie. Thanks for coming tonight. Congratulations. Congratulations, and thank you for coming tonight. Congratulations. Congratulations, thank you for coming tonight. Oh, congratulations. We're 3 stickers short. Will we get them later? All right, we're short of stickers. We'll get some more stickers and I'll get them to Andrew. How's that?
Okay, thank you.
Congratulations.
We're short
Thank
of 3.
you. You get the medallion?
Yes.
Okay.
So did this.
Thank you. I'm going to encourage the FBLA students to at least stay for a couple more minutes. And then if you want to stay for the rest of the meeting, it would be a great educational experience for you. But I want you to stay at least for the next part, which is not actually on the agenda. The mayor gets a little bit of leeway to add things, and council gave approval to this. So, 10 years ago, I made a trip to Toledo, Oregon, with one of the members of our city council named Jane Vincent. And we went up there on a mission with our city consultant because our city had been without a city manager for a year. In 2013, we went through a tumultuous period of time in which we lost our city manager, and over the next year we had 3 interims, one who happens to be here tonight, Steve Carmichael, who filled in for a short time. And we did a nationwide search for a city manager, and we came up empty. So then we said, we need to look closer to home. We need to look and see if we can find someone that we can get some good reference on, who is more local to Oregon, who has some experience. And so I was told, you need to go to Toledo, Oregon. There's a lady up in Toledo, Oregon, who's in her first city manager position and doing a great job. You should go up there. So I went up there with the city councilor, with our consultant. We spent the day interviewing people, and at the end of the day, we met Michelle Amber and her husband, Don. Don, would you stand in the back, please? From that first meeting, then we had a series of interviews, and the city council made a very important decision, and we hired Michelle Amber as our city manager. Just this last week, she completed 10 years. And I was told when we hired Michelle that the average city manager stays about 5 years. And I think now our city manager is one of, if not the longest, continuous city manager in Lake County. And we are very blessed to have her. So tonight, we're going to honor Manager Amber for 10 years of continued service. There have been some really good times in 10 years, and I can tell you there have been some really, really rough times that Manager Amber has waded through. And one of the great accomplishments she's done is the hiring of staff members and the encouragement of staff members. And she's just done a fantastic job with that. So, Manager Amber, I have here cards that have been mailed in for you. But we also have some members of the public here tonight that I especially asked if they would come. So first of all, I'm going to ask Kevin Prachu. Do you have anything you'd like to say? Please stand up. Kevin Prachu was city councilor and also council president.
I didn't know you were going to give me an opportunity to speak, but I'll take any chance that I get to say just how awesome Michelle has been. She certainly has earned my trust over the years as I have experienced just her overall desire to be transparent and open to new ideas and open to new ways of doing things and such, and just always been impressive to me. So I have one card to add. I didn't mail it in, but I went ahead. This is from my wife and I, so
Thank you.
thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Kevin. Next to Kevin, we have Martha McReynolds, who was a longtime counselor as well. Martha, would you have anything you'd like to say?
Well, just congratulations. Michelle was who we needed at the time, and it was a really raw, rough time. And I can't believe it's been 10 years. In my cards, I'm sorry, it's already on the counter. But I echo what Kevin says, and probably what you'll hear from a lot of folks that I expect.
Thank you. Let's see, I'm scanning the audience. I see Steve Carmichael, who, as I said, was an interim city manager. Steve?
I had the experience of, Dave talked about the interim city managers, and I served in the interim of the interims. When one left and another one came, I was the city manager for 4 days. So I know what a tough job it is, Michelle. Michelle and Dave and I met a number of times in our first couple of years here, and they were a wonderful experience, watching these two work together and being able to work with them. So I have fond memories of that, Michelle. That was great. And 10 years. I know.
Who would have thought?
You bet.
Jenny?
Well, I would just like to say that Michelle is a surprise all the time, because, you know, you talk to her about you need to have a underlayment on the picnic shelter over at Holt Park, and this needs to be done. And she said, well, we did that a couple years ago, Jenny. And then there's this little park over by Del Cooney. And Michelle is just taking care of business and taking your long-term plans and making them happen and implementing them. And I just can't think of a better city manager for Creswell. So thank you for all your hard work and for all you do for us.
And then we have over here Aaron and Jenny Donnelly.
Hi, I'm Aaron Donnelly. I live in Creswell, but I'm with Santa Pac, and as a partner with the city, Michelle's just always been so fair and transparent and good communication and supportive, and we're just really lucky to have her. So for all the students here, all these people up here are volunteers. They do this because they want to. They don't get paid anything. They just your parents voted them in, and they spend their time helping the city run well. And Michelle actually works here, and that's a job that you can have where you manage a city and make sure that it runs well. And it's a really fascinating thing to do, but we're really lucky to have someone like Michelle, so thank you.
Okay, now I want to see, did I miss anyone, city councilors? I want to see if there's any members of the staff who'd like to take an opportunity to say a word.
Sure, I'll say something. I've worked here for going on 24 years, I think, so I went through several iterations of city manager, and Michelle has been probably the easiest one to work with, the one that's most open to communicate with, and I think she does a good job, so I appreciate working for her.
That's good. Kelly?
I'll croak through it because I have a head cold, but I think I'm the longest employed person in the city of Creswell. I'm on my 25th year. And so, yes, I've seen lots of them ebb and flow. I was here when Ron Hansen retired. I was hired 6 months before he retired. So I got to work with Steve during a real tumultuous time for the 4 days that he was city manager. And I was in Florida and we're having issues, so that's a whole nother can of worms that has been put to bed. But just being able to work with her daily, I mean, she really cares about the employees. And the open communication, I think that says a lot for a manager. When you know that her door is always open, and if you're having an issue, it's not like, well, you shouldn't have that. It's like, okay, how can I help you? So that makes a big difference when you're dealing with personnel issues or complaints or things that just aren't working well. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Grace, would you like to say anything?
Sure. Michelle, I admire you for the job that you do and the various difficult tasks that you have before you daily. You have been very easy to work with, and you've gotten a lot done just in the short time that I've been here at the city, and it's very encouraging to see. Congratulations.
Now, did I miss any staff members? Heather?
Hi, so I don't know if you remember my interview, but I had a knee scooter at the time, which, because I'd broken my foot. And the job I do kind of relies on me having to move around. So I was a little worried that that might disqualify me, but I just remember Michelle being extremely warm and welcoming, and it was like my scooter didn't even exist. She was focused on me as the person, the potential employee, rather than the disability that I had at the time. And as I've worked for almost a year, Michelle has really encouraged me. She has given me projects, that have allowed me to flourish. And in turn, she is one of the best bosses I have ever had. Not only do I respect her, but I know that she has a mutual respect for all her staff, and she truly cares about them. And her, like Shelley said, she has an open door, and I always feel like I can approach her. She's so welcoming and loving, and really has a good heart for everyone that she encounters. So just congratulations, Michelle.
Thank you, Heather. Okay, so now the floor is open to councilors. If you would like to say something to our city manager. Norma?
I am so proud that you're our city manager. You do such a good job. I can't believe that one person could hold all the balls in the air that you do. And you're so kind to everybody.
Stacy?
Congratulations on 10 years. That's a milestone anymore. I mean, city manager or not, right? So, but I have really enjoyed working with you over this last year. I think that something that people don't talk about a lot or see a lot is how city managers are sort of inundated with personalities, right? So the council's always changing, the mayor's always changing, and she navigates that like a rock star. So really appreciate that.
Lonzo?
Sure. I don't know why my mic's way over there. I'll just say that, as we've heard, we do this volunteer, I've been only 6 years, I think, for me. I can't imagine you going through all of this for 10 years, I too have built a lot of trust in you, Michelle. I think when I first started, honestly, I came in with kind of my guard up, what's going on here, but no, you've rightly so have earned my trust in you and what you do for the city. And congratulations to you for 10 years of service.
Yeah.
It's been a short stint for you and I as well, and I will say congratulations. 10 years is a big deal. One thing that nobody has quite touched on is the amount of hours that it takes to be the manager that you are, to put in the work, to the long hours that nobody ever thinks of, and the time at home and time away. So congratulations. You really do put in the work, and I do think you have Creswell's best interest at heart, and I think we're better off for it. So congratulations.
Clark?
I'll make it unanimous. Congratulations on 10 years. You're fantastic. I also tend to be very suspicious. I need my trust to be won over, and you've won over my trust in the very brief time I've been here. So thank you very much. And I have the card to add.
Okay. So, Michelle, I do truly appreciate the dedication you've given to our city. Because it takes somebody who's at the helm, working with all the staff, working with all the public, working with the council members, all the committees. Take someone who keeps all that moving along in a positive direction. And maybe one of the things I appreciate the most about Manager Amber is when I became mayor in 2013, the city did not have a strategic plan. And I was told, well, we just kind of were moving forward, doing what needs to be done, but we don't have a plan. So we created one. Michelle, and now we've had 2 strategic plans, because they've been 5 years long, so we're in our second one. Michelle has this amazing ability to look long-term for the city. Because if you're in city work, and I'm going to say this to all the young people here, if you're in city work, you have to plan way in advance, 20, 25 years, and at one conference they said, no, if you're in city work, you have to be thinking 50 years down the road. Where will we be and what kind of facilities do we need? Well, that's a long-term look, 50 years or even 25 years. And Manager Amber has that ability to look long-term and then to back it up and say, what does that mean today and tomorrow? Because if you're not doing today and tomorrow what you need to do, you'll never get any place in 20 years. It's a long-term process, and I have appreciated that so much about you. So thank you. I'm going to pass these cards down. And congratulations, Manager Amber. Now, we should allow you an opportunity to say something if you'd like.
You got me.
Good.
Did he really? I thought I'd slip by. Thank you very much. It has been an interesting 10 years. When I look back at where we started, actually I moved here the 1st of February, and my husband moved here the Valentine's Day. And it was snowing, and my car was slipping all over the place. And yeah, it was an interesting start. And we've lived 3 different places here in Creswell in 10 years. We've moved a lot, but not out of the city. And yeah, there's been a lot of people come and a lot of people go. I have to say, I've had the privilege of working with the best people I've ever worked with in my career here in Creswell. And I don't take that for granted, and that's probably why I'm still here 10 years. So thank you to all of you, and thank you for what you bring to the council. Each one of you is a volunteer. I do really respect that. And thank you to my staff who has got my back during the day. It's just, they're best. They're the best. So thank you. There's no better than Creswell.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Okay, now we move on to item 3 on the agenda. And if you need to leave, you sure can. Otherwise, we're just going to zip right along through our meeting tonight. Item 3 is correspondence. We had 2 letters here. Council members, do you have any comments on correspondence? Any council comments on correspondence? So I want to... Okay, go ahead.
To refresh my memory. Sorry, I need to scroll a little back.
How about I'll make a comment and then I'll open the floor for others who'd like to.
Yes.
So one of the corresponders is here tonight, Caden Bolanos, right here in the front row. Caden, thank you for your emails. When I mentioned tonight that you had sent an email, my wife said, "Oh, Caden," because I think she was your teacher in 4th or 5th grade.
Absolutely.
So you have wonderful grammar.
Thank you.
And this afternoon, I read through the 2020 Creswell Downtown Plan, so that was good. And one of the things I mentioned to you in an email was when we receive correspondence, or tonight as we've heard members of the public come and speak, council members can bring those items back to later work sessions for further discussion of the council. And so I want to have a conversation with Michelle, our city manager, about the 2020 beautification plan. And every 2 weeks, Council President and I meet with Manager Amber, and that'll give us a chance to talk about that and consider putting that on a work session. That's my personal response. So, and then the letter we got from Don Everett. So I had some questions, Manager Amber. This is the individual talking about speeding on 5th Street and his interest in a 3-way stop. Is that something that we address? Is that even in the county, that portion of 5th Street and New Block Road?
That would be something that Cliff could address.
That's in the city limits.
Okay, that is.
Yep, it is. I can add that traffic control devices don't just get put in at a request or at somebody's thought process. It has to go through an engineering traffic study, and then there are devices that have to go in front of those for advanced warning. So it's a process to make that happen.
So I wondered whether this was something Safe Routes to School has addressed?
It could certainly be part of the Safe Routes to School program. It could also be something that the Transportation and Public Works Committee could address.
So if it's something, so next steps would be to perhaps talk to Shelley, who's our representative to State Safe Routes. I don't know if it's already in their plan.
I know that there is a grant that is being prepared that will address street crossings, I believe, right there. And we'll have, I think, one of the things that has been recommended is the flashing lights that flash when people are present and tell people that they have to slow down or stop. So they've been looking at that. They've been looking at the crosswalks at Holt Park, and I believe the crosswalk down there by the high school.
Okay. I'll mention this to Shelley and see what she can.
Okay.
And I understand what you're saying, that these things are a process. So thank you. Okay, other councilors who have comments about the correspondence. Okay, if not, then we will move on. Thank you, Kate, for coming tonight. And you are encouraged to come to another council meeting and speak, as you saw tonight. Or if this gets put on a work session docket, then I'll let you know so you can come to that meeting as well. Manager Amber.
It might be interesting for him to actually come to the Planning Commission, since the nature and look of downtown is something that they would have control over, or at least have a lot of input on. That would be a good place to start, would be the Planning Commission and our city planner. Have you talked to Curtis yet?
I'm not.
Okay. Yeah, we talk about placemaking all the time, and signage and all the things that were in your letter. So if we had a champion, it might make a real difference in getting some things done.
Does the Planning Commission have a public forum at the beginning of their meetings or not? Or should I just encourage Caden to make an appointment with Curtis?
Yeah, either way, I think if you came to a Planning Commission meeting and wanted to speak, they would let you speak. But Curtis is also available at your convenience.
So you could come into City Hall and ask to speak with Curtis or Manager Amber, or you could send an email to City Hall or to me, and we'll reroute that to Curtis, and that way you can make a connection with Curtis Thomas. He's our planner.
Okay, perfect.
Good, thank you. Okay. All right.
I did like your rendering. It's a cool picture, and really it's simple and doesn't look too cost effective. It's funny that you did. I was like, man, it looks nice. What the heck does it really look like? So when I drove by for basketball practice the other day, well, it's not there. So what you did was very simple, but it really did. I really thought it did amp up the volume of the quality and the appearance. So I appreciate your efforts doing that. It didn't go unnoticed. As soon as I drove by, and I was like, man, that really did look better. So I commend you on it and being passionate about it. That's really cool, and it didn't go unnoticed at all. So hopefully we can do something.
Okay, thank you. All right, we move to the consent calendar. We have 3 minutes here. All items are considered routine unless something needs to be pulled from the minutes for correction purposes. So council, is there anything that needs to be pulled from the minutes? Councilor Kent.
There's nothing particular I'd like pulled. I just was reading over the January 8th minutes, and when I read them, it wasn't clear to me that Councilor Castilla was elected the city council president. It looked to me like, it almost read to me like Councilor Clark was selected based on what was there. So I don't know if it was my own misreading or if it's something we want to add to that.
And it's not clear as I read it either. Thank you for catching that. So it indicates, this is point 2, Councillor Clark nominated Alonzo Castillo, Councillor Osborne nominated Councillor Clark. Councillor Clark's vote for her involvement with Lane Act. Council vote was 5-0. Council President Castillo recused himself due to a conflict of interest since it would increase his stipend. Mayor Stram thanked Council President Castillo for overseeing the December council meeting, but there's no indication that there was a vote of 5-0, but who was elected. So, Council, do you recollect that Councilor Castillo was elected president?
Yes.
So Grace, can you go back into the minutes and do whatever you need to do to get that corrected?
I mean, if we say no, can we redo the whole year?
Well, I suppose Michelle's not here to defend herself.
Oh, true. Okay, fine.
Okay, so that item is pulled. Is there anything else that needs to be pulled? And thank you for catching that.
I do have one thing.
Councilor Castillo.
During the emergency meeting, I'm not sure, but when Pastor Casey was introduced, I thought he was introduced as Pastor Casey, and it just says Casey from New Hope. So if he wasn't, that's fine, but if he was, I guess we wouldn't know, unless you went listen to the recording.
Which is what we would ask.
Sure.
Okay, so those minutes will need to be checked. Is there anything else that needs to be pulled? So then, council, I would be asking for a motion to approve the January 8 minutes as, but those haven't been amended yet. So I would actually be asking you to approve only the January 29 minutes, while the January 8 minutes and the January 18 minutes would need to be corrected and then presented at the next council meeting. That make sense? Amanda Amber.
You could approve the 8th by just saying as amended.
As
because
amended, yes.
it was determined what the language should be.
Okay. So I'm asking council if there is a motion to approve the January 8 minutes as amended, the January 29 minutes as presented. Is there a motion on the floor? Councilor Clark.
I make a motion to accept the approval, to approve the January 8th, 2024 minutes as amended, and the January 29th, 2024 minutes as presented.
I have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Second from Councilor Osborne. Any further discussion? Councilor?
I just want a point of clarification. What is the amendment we're making specifically? Are we changing, are we adding pastor to the name and then making it, what is the amendment specifically that we're?
So the amendment is only to the January 8 minutes, and it's amending it. Vote was 5-0, Council President, Councilor Castillo elected.
Okay.
Council President.
Okay, so we're on, okay.
The January 18 minutes, we're not addressing tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Those will be changed for the next meeting. Okay, any further discussion? Council will proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, now we go to the administrative report. Manager Amber.
Thank you, Mayor. You have all of the bills that were paid recently for your review. I could try and answer any questions you may have on them.
Councilor Castillo.
Sure, the big one, Northwest Community Builders.
First page.
Northwest Community Builders. Almost in the middle, 205,147.
Yeah.
It's the airport wastewater.
It's the wastewater system at the airport.
Okay.
That was just completed.
And then just one more. I know at the bottom, there's always some citizens that receive some sort of correction or so forth, but at the very end, there's one for $1,225. that's a pretty good sum to go back. I was just wondering what that was about.
And that was a reimbursement to Mr. Hendrickson. He failed to meet the term of his contract with the city, so the city has canceled his lease and returned the balance.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Holt.
What is Analytical Laboratory Group doing for us?
They do all the testing of the wastewater and the water that comes out.
Okay.
It's something that's required by DEQ.
Okay, thank you.
When I hear analytical, I don't think wastewater.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next item is the Lane County Sheriff's Calls for Service, and I see Sergeant Spelter just joined us, so he can answer your questions on that.
Hello. I apologize for being somewhat tardy. I was in the middle of a pretty serious call, so. I also apologize for bringing my laptop. Usually I bring paper copies, so I'm not fiddling with this, but I rushed right here as quick as I could to make it in time. So if you take a look at the calls for service, you'll see that our calls are generally down this month. January was a slow month for us in Creswell, which is awesome. But the calls that we did have took up a little more time. Especially during the ice storm, we were doing a lot of welfare checks on people, our vulnerable population, trying to get people squared away with where they're going to go, getting in touch with relatives they may not have talked to in years to try to arrange transportation, that type of stuff. So while the calls for service were down, the time that's a lot of those calls, if you look, we have 44 welfare-based calls, welfare check-based calls. Those take significantly more time than a lot of other calls. So overall, it was a good month for the sheriff's office here. You'll see we didn't write any speeding citations, not for a lack of being out there. It seems that people are starting to slow down a little bit in general, at least my observations. We still have people that are driving fast through town, but it is not nearly as frequent as what I've noticed. The Measure 11 cases, you'll see we had 3 calls. One of them ended up being an unfounded case right off the bat. One of the other Measure 11 cases was a historical sex crime case where somebody was reporting a crime that had occurred 10 years ago or so. And then the other one was, trying to think how to describe this one, but it was a known suspect. We're still working that case, but it was a sex crime as well. So I'm happy to answer any other questions that anyone may have about the calls.
Sergeant Spellers, what's the status of our current unhoused population, and have there been issues or crimes committed against them in the last month?
So our current unhoused population is kind of fluid right now. We have our base 6, 7 that we deal with on a regular basis. We've had a couple new people move into our area, and then we have another one that is again incarcerated, and I'm not sure when he's going to be released. We're still floating around that 7 to 10 to 12, somewhere in that area. It's kind of hard to determine because we have a couple people that may stay down at the park overnight, and then other people that stay in their vehicles and move around. So we have had some crimes committed against our unhoused population. They're secondhand to me. The person who was the victim of that has not come forward to us to speak to us about it and is relaying it through a third party. So I have encouraged them to come forward to us so that we can investigate the crime instead of relying on third-party information. But they have yet to do so.
So with the motor vehicles that we have parked here, there's 3 or 4 of them, I think.
Yes.
Have we had any issues with criminal activity either directed toward them or the motor vehicles causing issues with neighbors?
So nothing's been reported to me with regards to them being issues. We are, and they understand the 72-hour rule. Most of the time, we don't even have to go talk to them, and they move their vehicles. One of the people living in an RV is the person who is that kind of third-hand victim of a potential criminal mischief crime. But he has not come forward to us, has not contacted us, has not called us. So I'm not sure what that extent is. It has been brought up to me by one of our community members that interacts with the homeless regularly, and I've explained to him we need to have him come report it, or we can't follow up on it. It doesn't do us a whole lot of good for somebody to report it, you know, a week later, 2 weeks later, when we don't have anything we can really follow up on. I'm not sure what the solution is there.
Councilor Smith?
Thank you. How aggressive have we been in enforcing the 10 p.m. rule next door?
We have been somewhat lenient about that. We wanted, when the ordinance was passed, we wanted to take an educational approach to it. As time has gone by, I have issued 2 citations. I'm the only person that's issued illegal camping citations for that park. But we have been lenient with regards to the start time and the end time. And I have explained to the people that we're frequently contacting for those violations that they need to respect what has been passed. Otherwise, they're going to end up with citations. I actually informed some people today that the next step is a park exclusion, which would mean they can't even use that area anymore. So I'm hoping that they feel the weight of that, because we're kind of at that point. Push comes to shove.
I support you in being lenient and just guidelines and giving, you know, plenty of chances. I have a second question is, have we had any of our homeless arrested, or has there been any criminal activity with them towards other citizens?
Yes. Yeah, there has.
I want to be answered. Thank you.
Manager Amber?
I just wanted to update the city council that we did have a homeless person punch the windows here in City Hall last week, and we did call, and they responded, and he was arrested.
Councilor Castillo?
Thank you, Sergeant, for rushing over down here to make it. You're a busy man. Just wanted to say I too appreciate your leniency in the ordinance. I'm there in that parking lot all the time. It's very obvious to me that you are very lenient with that, and that's great. Two, I don't know if you could speak to, I was almost delighted that it looked like a member of the community offered up some private property right next to the our park, but now it seems like it's ended. Do you know anything about that?
I do. That property actually was not really offered up.
Oh, okay.
Someone moved onto that property, and then once the property owner became aware of it, they asked them to move off of it and gave them a deadline that they weren't really going to follow without police intervention.
Okay.
And they actually approached us and said, can you please remove them from our property or arrest them for trespassing?
Got you. Okay. So this, I was told by the campers that they had gotten permission, and I thought that was great.
I don't know who they got permission from, but it was not the property owner. The property owner made that very clear that he never gave them permission, and he approached the sheriff's office at another event and said, what do I do?
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Manager Amber?
It's my understanding that the renters of the property are the one that gave permission, not the owner. So there's kind of a layer in there that helps make a little more sense, maybe.
Okay, any further questions for Sergeant Speldridge? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Back to Manager Amber.
Thank you, Mayor. The next report is the city attorney report. I have any questions about that, I could try and answer them for you. Okay, the next one is the code report. We're having a particularly difficult time with the folks out on Art Lot Lane. They're getting a lot of attention right now from us.
These are the photos of the RVs and the muddy driveway?
It doesn't really show it, I don't think. If you go out there, you can get a better idea of what it looks like. It looks like one property is neat and tidy, and another one's being used to burn RVs.
To burn RVs?
Oh, yeah, the pictures don't.
That's what it appears.
Okay,
So we have a lot of concern about that.
yes.
Uh-huh, yeah.
At what point does that go from code enforcement to police intervention?
I think it has. We just have to be able to prove it,
Oh. Okay,
and we are doing our best.
okay. Any other questions for code enforcement? Counselor Kent?
I just wanted to say as a newbie here that it looks like the pictures may be a new thing, and I really appreciate having them. It helps, actually see what's going on, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. And then the last thing we have the building permit recap. You can see what's going on with building permits. There was a lot of electrical permits issued as people hooked up their generators. Okay, and then the last report is a summary of the ice storm event.
Counselor Holt?
I do have a specific question about ice storm. During the ice storm, did you pivot to relaxing on camping rules for the unhoused?
No, I don't think we did.
Was it just that it never came up, or?
Right, it wasn't requested, maybe.
I might be able to clarify on that.
Okay.
There actually was not very much camping going on in the Pocket Park. And what little camping was going on kind of became low priority for us as we were dealing with the more pressing calls for service.
Sure. So they kind of just left it alone.
Yeah, they were containing themselves down there pretty well, so I didn't feel the need for intervention.
Sounds reasonable. Thank you.
I think they were on private property at that time. So, yeah, I don't think we had an issue at the Pocket Park. Plus, we had a warming center open that they could have used, and we had overnight shelter. So, those things were
I
available.
asked specifically because it was mentioned, and so I wanted to see how we approached that during this particular storm. That's all. Thank you.
Counselor Castillo?
Sure, and since we're on that topic, for clarification, that is up to your discretion, correct? You don't need our approval to adjust.
Well, it's reassuring to hear that you guys do support a relaxed time. It's, I try to carry out the ordinance according to what your intentions are, and sometimes maybe I don't read them as well. So it's good to hear tonight that where you are on that.
That was my question, as it was pointed out earlier, that our ordinance has language saying that it may be suspended due to severe weather or special circumstances. But then my question was, what do you need from the council, if anything, for you to determine to suspend due to severe weather or special circumstances?
I think that's just part of what I do. I think, and I don't want to speak for Bill, but I think the issue is that 10 o'clock at night is too late. And I am not going to regularly suspend the 10 o'clock at night rule because it is in the ordinance and direction you gave me. But in an unusual circumstance, I might make some adjustments.
So the council would either need to adjust the ordinance or give you specific direction that says in the winter months, you have our our approval to suspend for that time? What would you need if 10 o'clock is too late, which is what you said, what would you need from us?
Well, I think that, you can say when it's, daylight savings time, it's this time, and when it's standard time, it's this time. And that would give me a good idea of what your expectations are.
Okay, Councilor Smith?
With the state of emergency that we declared, would that allow you the freedom to do what your job title gives you freedom to do? I mean, wouldn't that kind of include time frame and
If
one person in charge is you, so.
Right, and like I said, I don't think we had anybody at the park during the ice storm, so, yeah.
I want to make sure that you did have that ability, though. I mean, if we did declare an emergency situation, you should have that right and that ability to make that call.
It does give me the right to, set a curfew and things like that. However, I would like to do that in cooperation with the city council and not just unilaterally decide these things.
Emergency situation, though. I mean, somebody's got to make a call.
I understand.
I'm just agreeing, I'm supporting you in making that call, but somebody's got to make the call eventually. Trying to get 7 people or 8 people's heads together is not going to work, especially in an emergency.
Sergeant Felder, did you have something you wanted to interject?
I was just gonna say, we only had one person sleeping in the pocket park during this, and it was somebody in a sleeping bag. They would set up every night underneath the bench area, and then they would be gone by morning. So, I know that the ordinance, because I've studied the ordinance very in depth, allows the city manager to make the designation anytime for pretty much any reason, so. Just my 2 cents, I guess.
Norma, you had your hand up?
Do we want to bring this issue to a work session to discuss that somewhere in the future? Whether we want to make any changes or how we can best support Michelle?
Councilor Holt?
I think after what Sergeant Spelter just said, I think that Michelle already has sort of that ability to bend and sway as she needs.
Councilor Castillo?
I would totally agree. The way I understood the ordinances, that was the direction and that allowed you to do that. Because we don't need to go back, we don't need to meet every time to discuss, is this time to change the hours?
Only if you had an expectation that it would change for, 2 or 3 months at a time or, 6 months. Because that's kind of what happens, when the days get short. It is difficult for people who are sitting around the park. They want to, go to bed earlier than 10 o'clock. So they want to be able to pitch their tents earlier. So only if you were going to adjust that time for that time period to take into account the early sunsets, would you need to probably discuss it.
Sure.
Councilor Holt?
I think this question might be for you, Alonzo. I think you might know this. What time does the last bus roll in? Because I think that was part of our planning, was this whole conversation about.
Yes. I don't ride the last bus, but I believe it's 7:30, something to that effect.
Okay, something maybe we could look into. All right. I feel like we made that our decisions kind of pivoted around when people are going to use the parking lot and stuff, or what do you call that?
Public transportation?
Yeah, thank you.
So I want to say, Councilor Osborne, if you would like to bring it to a work session for discussion, because as I'm understanding it, we're saying that Manager Emmer has some discretion, but I hear Manager Emmer saying that if it was for a period of several months, because now it's dark at a certain time, that to make that kind of judgment, you'd rather have specific direction from the council. So I want to say to Councilor Osborne that if you want to bring this to the council for a discussion at a work session, then as is our normal protocol, send an email to Manager Amber or I that you'd like to put on a work session to take a look at the ordinance in terms of whether the timeline needs to be adjusted. And then Manager Amberg and I will get that on a work session schedule. Okay?
My reason
Yes.
for bringing it up is to show support for her.
Okay. Any other questions, comments about the ice storm event? Oh, Councilor Holt?
I would just like to thank Manager Amberg, city staff, everybody that made things happen during that time. You did an amazing job. When I drive through Creswell, I'm super proud to see the amount of work that's gone into cleanup already. I mean, it's just amazing. So thank you so much. And I'm sure it was hard for you, Sergeant, during that time as well. So thank you for stepping up and helping out. And so it's very appreciated.
And I would like to say that I appreciate, Manager Amberg, that you and staff met sometime afterwards and put this together for us. Because this was very comprehensive, and as I read it through, there were things I didn't know. And so I thought it was so important that we have a follow-up to the ice storm. And then I'm looking forward to going forward on specific recommendations you'll have as to things we need to do to be better prepared the next time around.
Yeah. We have a few.
Okay, very good, very good. And again, thanks to all the staff. Okay, let's move to council action items. The first action item is to adopt resolution 2024-02, a resolution recognizing unanticipated revenue for the city of Creswell from the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality Clean Water State Revolving Fund for a partially forgivable loan for an update to the wastewater system facilities plan. And Manager Amber, is this your report?
Yeah, I'll take it tonight. The city has received a grant in the amount of $219,120. This grant was not anticipated at the time the budget was put together. And so we need to have a resolution to put it into the budget. And then you have a resolution that authorizes us to pay it out of the budget. So this is the one that puts the grant into the budget.
Okay, council members, any questions for Manager Amber? Councilor Castillo.
Was this a grant that you applied for?
It's a grant, yes, that we applied for. It's actually a forgivable loan. So it will depend on how they rate our median income as to how much will be loan and how much will be grant.
I see. Thank you.
There's no way of knowing that total until they approved it.
Councilor Smith.
There's no way of knowing what it would be until they approved it, I assume.
It will probably be something that is revealed as, most grants, you pay the money and then they pay you back. So you pay the money up front and then they reimburse you. So we'll know when it comes time for reimbursement.
Any further questions? All right, or council discussion. I'm entertaining a motion on item resolution 2024-02. Councilor Castillo.
I move that the City Council approve Resolution 2024-02, a resolution recognizing unanticipated revenue for the City of Creswell from the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality Clean Water State Revolving Fund for a partially forgivable loan for an update to the wastewater system facilities plan.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Councilor Smith seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Council will proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item 6B, Resolution 2024-03, a resolution of the City of Creswell authorizing a $219,120 partially forgivable loan from the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality Clean Water State Revolving Fund for the Wastewater System Facilities Plan Update. Manager Amberg.
This is the resolution that allows us to spend the money you just approved us to receive.
Okay, any questions for Manager Amber, Councilor Smith?
I don't want to assume, but the plan is to use all this towards like the wastewater.
The wastewater treatment plant
New
update.
plant.
Yes.
Any additional questions? Council discussion of the item. Not that I'm entertaining a motion on resolution number 2024-03. Councilor Osborne,
I move to approve resolution 2024-3, a resolution of the City of Creswell authorizing a $219,120 partially forgivable loan from the Oregon Department of Environment and Quality Clean Water State Revolving Fund for the wastewater system facilities plan update.
I have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Second from Councilor Smith. Any further discussion? Council will proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Item 6C, this is a resolution extending the temporary state of emergency within the boundaries of the City of Creswell. Manager Amber.
Right. First of all, in discussions with Cliff today, I would like to change the resolution. It says the deadline for the emergency declaration shall be extended to February 29th, 2024. I would like to have it extended until City Council cancels it. Because we've run into some problem with disposal of debris, as you can imagine. Everyone's disposing of it all at once. And we had an agreement with a business to take it, but that business is not following or honoring the agreement. So it may take us quite a bit more time to process the debris and remove it to a safe place.
Okay, so is there a particular language you'd like us to use? This would be under the now therefore be it resolved?
Right, I'd like the deadline for emergency declaration shall be extended until City Council cancels it. And then we'll have a resolution where you cancel it. This will allow us to, any costs that we incur under the declaration, we can bypass the state's purchasing laws, and we can also put it into the FEMA document for receiving money back.
Okay. Any questions for Manager Amber? Councilor Smith?
Is there any other issues other than debris removal that you foresee or that you're having issues with?
Well, generators. We found out, I don't know how this happened. We have a generator out there that is huge and is not connected to the building. So we need to have about $35,000.
It's 30, but yeah.
$30,000 to connect it to the building. So we need to have that done by an electrician. Also, Cliff found that it was very difficult working in the dark out in the public workshop. And so he would like to buy a generator and have it installed. And again, we just don't know the timing of that yet, whether that's going to be something we can do before the end of the month.
How much of the funds have we used, or do you know that figure off the top of your head, or do we have room within the budget that we've already given you?
Yeah, we have room, yeah, because we're not going to hit 150,000, are we?
I haven't been adding it up for the last week or so, but the last time I looked, we were around 50, a little under.
Yeah, Cliff has done most of the work himself with his crew. He did hire someone to do Garden Lake Park, and that's the only contractor I think you've hired.
I've hired a tree trimmer for some high stuff that we couldn't get to, pretty minimal cost. The debris hauling is going to be expensive.
I understand gas and labor. Have we looked into, or do you know any other local contractors we can hire to help you get it done quicker, maybe more efficiently?
No, I've contacted a couple of different contractors, and I've also talked to other municipalities around and Lane County. we all have the same problem. We have giant piles of debris and they have to be dealt with. And there's only a couple things to do with them is chip them or haul them to a facility that processes them. And the facilities that process them is just inundated with so much debris, they don't have capacity. So we have to decide whether to wait or to have it chipped, and then we don't know what to do with the chips, so we're kind of in a holding pattern.
I'll take the chips.
Councillor Osborne.
Does the city own a chipper?
Yes, but not one near large enough to deal with that.
Have you looked at the price of a larger chipper?
I have not. It would need a giant, like drum chipper.
Yeah.
I can tell you.
Budget for later.
They're a couple $100,000 to get
Oh.
12-inch sized limbs here,
Councillor Castillo.
Yeah, so you've answered most of my questions and thoughts, but so then we'll receive some sort of progress report or something? How will we know when to cancel it? You'll
I'll bring
just keep
forth
us
a
informed?
resolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the question I had, Manager Ember, I know that when you put into place an emergency declaration, it allows you to deal with things rapidly and not have to go through the whole state process. Is there any kind of state laws that prohibit us from having an open-ended end to our emergency declaration?
No. And we had one when COVID happened and we didn't know when COVID would be over. And so we said that, we would be under a state of emergency because the reason why we just declared a state of emergency during COVID was so we could do remote city council meetings. Yeah, so until such a time as you could meet together, it was kind of open-ended.
Okay. All right, any further questions? Council discussion?
Could we put on social media that, see if anybody wants to volunteer their yard for a large burn pile?
I think we should have a big bonfire.
The way this year's going, that would start a wildfire.
I'm and then entertaining a motion on Resolution 2024 as amended to state, and this is under whereas number, the statement that begins, now therefore be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Creswell, Oregon, that the deadline for the emergency declaration shall be extended until City Council cancels it, period. So I'm entertaining a motion to, on this resolution as amended. Councillor Holt.
I motion that we adopt resolution 2024/04, a resolution extending, as amended, a resolution extending the temporary state of emergency within the boundaries of the city of Creswell, delegating authority to the city manager.
I have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Councillor Smith seconds the motion. Any further discussion? Council will proceed to vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. We turn to the back side, upcoming meetings, and with that, we are adjourned. Oh, I was wondering. That's one thing I was thinking. No crying.